Hello my friends, my name is Roman and this is a 15th tutorial about JavaScript. Today we'll talk about loops. Sometimes we need to do the same operations many times. So for this we have in JavaScript loops. And by the way, we will better understand if statement here in loops during the looking at these examples. So let's look at the most uses loop. It names for statement. So for loop. So let's look at the syntax of it. It has a keyword for, then we initialize our variable, then we should do semicolon, then test, where we test the value and the increment. It's for giving understand what the next step in JavaScript should do, and then we write the statement. We can write it here. So this is an example of syntax of for loop. It's very useless because it gives us opportunity to better control this for loop. So let's look at this example. Okay, let's declare some variable. By the way, we can declare variable inside of for loops. So I'll show you. For here we can declare ei, for example 0, then I, for example, less than 5, and increment I plus plus. And let's by the way, as you remember, for loop waiting for one statement. That's why if you want to use a lot of operations, some statements, we should to use always block statement. So it's best practice, so we will use it later anywhere, everywhere where it needs many statements. So here we will use one, but it's better use it always. Okay, and console log I here, and let's look at the result. You see, it was every time it was iterated, and it was at the beginning initialized at 0 here, then it was tested that 0 is less than 5, and if it's everything okay, it do this operation, and then it's returned to this increment and do operation where it add 1 to 0, and then 1 here, 1 checked that 1 is less than 5, and the same operation. So, and about this declaration, for generally loops hasn't scope, so we will talk about scoping later when we will talk about functions, but here we can, it's better to see our variables outside. It's better, much better read it. So here we just write I. Okay, so let's save, and we see the same result. Also, when we need to do many operations, it's better to use when we need to do some number of iterations, and it's better, and we need good speed of doing this for loop. So it's better to use increment that or decrement to that max number goes to 0. So I will show you this example. So you see here it was this result, and let's write the same variant, but more fast, and where we need to do some count of operations. So we have declared the variable here, then writing for loop, then I, let's assign, for example, okay, let's assign 5 as it was before, let's like here, then I test as 5 is more than 0, and here we write decrement. So log I, and we see that it's another range of the numbers, but it was calculated much faster. I will show you why. Because here we can delete this part, because generally in for loops we can remove any part that we wish, but it can bring infinite loops, but to avoid it we should to understand exactly what it do. So here let's write decrement, and let's save. We see the same. It wasn't the same result, but now we have another range, but now it works very quickly, much more quickly than it was before. So it's another variant. So generally we can remove this part and this part also, and everything will work, but now it will bring the infinite loops. So I will not do it because it will crash my browser. So it's but technically so we can do it, but the only condition that should be that these two semicolons, because another way it will bring us syntax error, an error. Okay, so we saw this example. Let's comment it. So we was looking for loop, and now we can also let's look at the example for in. Okay, about for in we will talk about later, because when we will look at the objects. So for now it's let's look at the while statement, while loop. So we have generally in JavaScript 4 loops. 4, I mean number 4. First is for loop, it was this one. Also we have for in, it will be later. Now we'll talk about while statement, and in the end we'll talk about do while. So while loop, how it looks like. Here it's a syntax of it. While here we write expression, and here we write statement. That's white space. So it's a syntax of the while loop. Some example. Let's declare a variable, assign it 0, and while I less than, for example, 5, we will do some operation, log I, and we should to add here our increment. I will show you why. You see, everything works. So now we have declared the variable here. So while this condition is true, it will do this operation, and then in the end it will add 1 to the next. It will add 1 for this variable. Okay, it was this while loop. It's a classic, and I will show you also a better variant of it, how to write it better, more also faster variant. So the same, we declare variable, but now we assign it 5, then write while I. So here I will explain why. This I, while it will be, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, any number will convert to true, but if it will be 0, it will convert to false, and this for loop, this while loop will finish. So here we write some operation that's here will be log the console, and here is decrement. So let's look at how it works, and it was working at the same. So why is this useful? Because when when we need some amount of operations, just some number, for example 100 operations, the same. So we not need numbers, we need just amount. So it will be very useful. And just imagine when we should to do 1 million, for example, operations, and each time it will be work. So as less code you have, as more compact and more clever, more when it goes to 0, from the max number to 0, it will work faster. So when you have 1 million operations, it will work, it will save for you a lot of time and for your code. So it was while loop, and let's look at the do while. It's very rarely uses this operation, this statement, but I will show you also now how it looks like. Here we write our key word for do, then we write here statement, and under there is while expression, and here was the test. What is the difference? Because between do statement and do while and while, because here we do this code and we test it and do something. Here we at the beginning do some action, some part of code, and then we test how it was. So it's very rarely, because you should do, it's inconvenient for reading. So here you do some operations and then you check it, and that's why it's most uses this one while loop, and the most uses this for loop. So let's look at how it works, this do while statement. Let's declare some variable, for example I. By the way, I is the most uses variable name when you use loops. So here 0, and we are writing do. Here we write our statement log I, then we do another operation, it's increment and the statement, and in the beginning and the end we test. We write and test for our this loop I when I less than 5. Okay, so let's save, and we see that everything works. It's a classical simple example of the working do while loop. Okay, for today that's all. This was simple tutorial about loops. So see you in the next lessons. Thank you for watching. Bye.